we good? All right. I'm gonna just do one. I actually have 3 little tier lists to do today. I'm gonna do them one at a time, and just energy permitting, I'm gonna move on to the next one because I'm actually like super stressed today. As you see, I'm back in my old place. Mama Fry actually went on a little vacation, so I'm like with the boys who I don't know what's gonna happen with that. I mean, there's whatever, they're being babysit right now, but anyway, Fry is God. Welcome back. Alright, Tier List Tuesday though, so that is happening. There's just people emailing me about crap right now too. Someone's trying to get a sponsorship deal and their math is like atrocious. I don't know why, it's just on my mind stressing me out right now. That happened. I think I'm kind of starving too, but oops. That shouldn't be there. What is this? You go away. Alright. This is fine. I just uploaded the best decks for each hero. Seems like people are watching this a little bit less than normal. It's okay. It'll go back up to par. Just give it a couple hours. I uploaded it all a little bit late during today too. It's okay. Yeah, I have no idea what these 2 packs are, and I can't delete them too because I didn't make this tier list. How do I get rid of these? There's no way. These aren't my tier list, so I can't delete these. Go away. Kamusta Jax, my booty. I don't know what these are. I have no idea. It's fine. Barry Bama's been making these nice, high-quality icons. I really appreciate what he does, but every once in a while there's something in here. I just have no idea what it is. All right. You guys ready for this? Let's just start one at a time. I just gotta go. I don't know how many tier lists I'm gonna do today. We're gonna start with this. Let's just go. Oh, this new thing is... What is going on, baby? See, Baby Fry is just running in right now. Give me 1 second, guys. Yeah. Yes, your phone. Okay. She's in charge of phone the streaming, okay? Sorry, guys. Know what I'm gonna do about this. The real reason people come to the stream. Okay, let's go. let's go. We all ready? Are we good? What happened to the bottom of the PvZ Heroes home? What? Something is missing. What are you talking about? What are you talking about, man? Okay, going back into the, we have to go into the packs, actually. Set it up like this. All right. What's going on, everybody? This is Fry. So today we are going to do several things. First of all, I am going to explain how you should be buying packs in PvZ Heroes. What order should you be buying 1 pack at a time, or should you be buying 10? Which sets you should be buying packs from. So how to spend your gems in PvZ Heroes. And then I'm going to actually go and put all of the packs and sets, let's say, onto the tier list. And that will be sort of the more lengthy explanation of why you should be buying certain packs before other ones, which packs really contain the best cards in the game, etc. But I really just want to get this first part right out of the way, since this is one of the most frequently asked questions people ask me during the live streams. Fry, how should I be spending gems? What kind of packs should you be buying? So the short answer is that you should be buying... I really can't deal with this today.
We need a leap.
Thank you, Afro the Almighty, for subscribing.
Just popping in for a bit. School's really holding me down.
Okay,
Hope
guys.
y'all have a nice day. Bob.
That's just the generic ringtone for the. Okay, guys, I'll just be back. I'll just be back in a little bit. I don't really know what to do here. I'll see you guys in a little bit. All right. Sorry, guys. Just a crazy week once again. As if my life was gonna get more normal. Chill out, Fry. Chill, Fry. Never mind. It's just I'm just kind of here with the. It's a little whatever. I'm here with the little baby fries, and I'm trying to stream. There's someone here watching them in the meantime, but they're calling me now. It's just. Anyway, everything's fine. Everything okay. We're starting over. What's going on, everybody? This is Fry. So today we are doing two things. We're going to be putting the packs, the actual sets, on a tier list. We're going to be going through in depth all the cards within each set, which set has the best cards, which ones are less good. But before we do that, I'm going to explain how to spend gems. In PvZ Heroes, what sorts of packs should you buy? Should you be buying one pack at a time, 10 packs? Which set you should be really investing your gems into? This is one of the most commonly asked questions I get during the live stream, so that's why I really want to get that out of the way first. And then sort of when we do the tier list, I'm going to be going a little bit more in depth. That will be the more in-depth, let's say, explanation. So, as you see over here, I don't know how this happened, but there are 6 different images for packs. We're just going to ignore the last 2. The 4 we're going to be going through are going to be the base set. This is going to be Galactic, Colossal, and Triassic, doing them in order of how they came out. And, okay, so the short answer of how to buy packs in PvZ Heroes is to buy them in the order that they came out. The most important, it's actually pretty logical, because the most important set is the Premium pack. That's the one you really want to be investing almost completely into right when you start a new account, or if you're a beginner player. After you feel like you have a pretty good amount of those, you're going to be buying Galactic. Then you're going on to Colossal or Triassic. Doesn't actually matter at that point which ones you're going to do so, but I would still suggest in general just going Colossal and Triassic doing them in order how they came out. So right when you start the game, right when you have a new account, I would actually be buying one pack at a time, because every single pack that you get, right when your collection is just all those basic cards, it just makes your deck so much disproportionately better. You can just be able to upgrade your deck out of those little 1/1 tokens and button shrooms and whatever you're running. So definitely buy one pack at a time until you feel like you have a deck that can get you to rank 20 or 30. Now, if you want to see me actually do this, I did make a playlist on FryMup Gaming. It's my secondary channel called Fry's Free to Play. I started a completely new account. I was actually trying to just craft Aggro Solar Flare, and we actually got up to rank 40 with that, so that was a really fun sort of series. And I did find, again, buying the one pack at a time is actually good, because the amount of gems you're going to get back from ranking up and getting to rank 10 to 20 to 30 to 40 and to Ultimate League, which you can do pretty easily if you know how to play this game. So that will just happen so much faster every single pack that you buy. So if you're just starting out, it's worth to buy one at a time. Now, if you're going to try to get as big of a collection as possible, it's obviously more efficient to be buying 10 packs at a time. So I would suggest that you sort of do that. You know, obviously you're getting one extra bone, 10% more. So you do that if you're really just going to try to get as big of a collection as possible. Now, so again, really just focus at first on the premium packs. If you feel like you got your really base set, let's say in the premium set, you're not going to be getting all the legendaries. Obviously, that's going to take there's a lot of legendaries in the premium, so it's going to take a long time to sort of collect. But you have your basic commons, which you're going to be getting a lot of those per pack, and even your rares you're going to be getting, you know, one rare in every single pack, and you feel like you really have sort of the you know, your bread and butter cards you need, like your Shroom for Twos, like your Plan Foods, like the really cards, you know, your sumos, let's say, for your sports decks, the cards that really are the bread and butter cards. You can then actually start at that point buying, let's say, one or, you know, just a couple packs, maybe even an entire multi-pack from the other sets. So you're going to be going again in order. You can buy between 1 and 10 packs of Galactic, and then get the Colossal and then the Triassic, just to sort of fill in your collection, because even buying a few packs from the other sets will give you that big foundation of the uncommons and the rare cards that, you know, really are very useful. There's a lot of very good, we're going to be going through that in a second, but there's, I mean, in all of the sets, there's a lot of even really good uncommons, like Applesauce, is just an amazing card. You got rares like Elderberry, for example, if you're going for Aggro Solar Flare. So if you're going again, but once you sort of have that base amount of cards and you want to really start getting super rares and legendaries, I would literally go right back to premium packs and start investing in those again, because really at the end of the day, the most important legendaries in the game, there's obviously a few exceptions, but the really, really powerful ones are in the premium packs, and even some of the super rares. I mean, there's just some super, super essential cards. Line Dancing Zombie, you got Pogo in here, really, really solid cards that are, again, there's good stuff anywhere, but it's mostly in the premium packs. All right, so that was the explanation. I am now going to go through the different sets one by one. We're going to be looking at the sort of cards that are contained within the sets and putting them on this tier list, and we are just going to be going in order. So we're going to be starting off with none other than premium packs. So if you actually can see all the cards that are in a certain pack just by going and pressing this little information button over here in the shop. And, okay, so the legendaries, if you just think of, like, what are the best legendaries in the game, you have so many of them here. We're talking about Pineclone. This is literally one of the best cards in the entire game. Teleport, so essential. On the plant side, you also have, like, Brainana, which is ridiculously good. Maybe it's not, like, the best in the game, but even you have your Bananasauruses. You have a lot of your really, really bread and butter cards. Even Briar Rose is still very, very decent. On the zombie side, it might even be more drastic, because you have Trickster, which is, like, one of the absolute best cards in the game. I already mentioned Teleport. You got Valkyr. This is like these are all cards that have very strong arguments for being literally the best card in the game. It happens to be the super rare, so that's with the legend. Again, you have Plankwalker. There's so many great examples. I'm not going to go through every single one, but obviously there's crap everywhere. But again, really, I think that this is really the premium set to buy. I sort of mentioned this in passing a couple minutes ago, but the logic that buying the premium packs first, it really makes sense because this game was originally made with just the premium set, meaning there's a lot of, even nowadays, really good decks like Control Infinity that are almost completely premium. The premium doesn't rely on any of the other sets to be good. For the most part. So really, you're going to have like these really, really solid bases with the premium packs. The Galactic only came out once there already was a premium set, and there's a lot of Galactic cards that really rely on the premium set for your bread and butter cards in order to be good. All right, so moving on to the super rares. I don't think the super rares are quite as good. There's like actually a lot of trash, like Mirna. Doomshroom, I guess, is a good card. Crocodile's like a good card, doesn't see a lot of play. It's outclassed by Shamrocket. But again, you have some pretty essential ones here, notably our Black Eyed Pea. Crap. Not really. Okay, like Cat Lady's kind of good in one deck. It's actually not a very important card to go through, since I wouldn't say investing in pet decks is like a really good direction to go in this game. Maniacal's important. I don't actually, looking at these super rares, don't think a lot are. The only ones that I feel like are super essential is just Pogo. This is very arguably the best card to actually craft in the entire game. Again, really hard to differentiate or line dancing zombie. Most of the super rares are pretty poor. The rares are like, you can't run a Mega Grow deck without plant food. Gravebuster, Shroom for 2 UP. It's so hard to run a lot of Kabloom decks like without Shroom for 2. You got your Repeat Mosses, which are amazing for Captain Combustible. Even cards like Jumping Bean, like having a few of these gives you some removal for heroes with like Rain Shadow. You got your Power Flowers up in here, which are very good for if you're going for aggro solar flare. So just so many real essential cards. You also have your Sumos and your Coaches in here, which again, a very good budget zombie deck is definitely going for sports. And you have really all of the rares are contained in the set. The commons, again, you'll be getting these pretty quickly, but there's so many. There's so many really essential cards in the set. You got your Drone Engineers and your Beam Me Ups for your science decks, for you beginner players. You got your Flag Zombies, you got your Headstone Carvers, your Swashbucklers. I mean, just such of the most essential cards in the game. Not going to be going through them, but anyway, very easy to understand why I'm going to be putting the premium set easy S tier. It is the best set in the game, in my opinion. We're going to be moving right along. We got Kangaroo in this set, guys. Obviously, that's like a card. Everyone needs 0 copies of Kangaroo. Shut up right now. All right, next, again, going chronologically, we're going to be going into the Galactic. Now, just the concentration of good legendaries, this might even have higher quality average than the premium set, now that I'm looking at it. Because, like, okay, the bad ones, let's say Bodyguard's not especially useful, Starfruit, but you have like Pecanolith, Molotov. If it's not competitive in many decks, it's still one of the most fun cards in the game, especially once you have your Pine Clones. It's not really good if you haven't invested in the premium set necessarily. Captain Cucumber, Onion Rings, Dragon. I mean, these are again, the overall, like, average quality of legendaries in this set. Quasar, again, there's some bad ones. It probably is slightly above the premium set, but I still don't think they're important, because most, like, Pecanolith decks are focused on one thing. It's not like, Pecanolith decks are mostly good with Grass Knuckles because he has bonus attacks. You really got to use your bonus attacks, but you can use Pecanolith with a few other things. I'm talking about, like, Trickster is useful in everything. Mix-up Gravedigger is auto-include in every single deck. So that's the reason, again, this isn't, if you're going for a legendary, if you're just going for legendaries, maybe this set is better. It's really more when you get your Pogos and your Mix-up Gravediggers and your actual your Sumos and your Coaches for your sports deck. Probably the premium's a little bit wing, but then what? Let's go through this a little more in depth. We'll move on to the super rares and we'll see where we're at. A lot of really, really solid cards in Galactic, but then you have a lot of bad ones. I guess it's sort of like, seems like the super rare, I mean, this is just average. This is very good. Cheese Cutter is very good. Seems like the super rares, there's like so many like just freaking amazing cards. Area 22 is pretty good, but then you just have so much garbage. Even Gas Giant, not very useful in a lot of decks. Of course, you have your Leap. Did this actually come out in a different set than Leap? I don't even know that. I don't even remember. You have some really, really important cards like Black Hole and Dr. Spacetime. Again, this is really one of the better sets in the game. The rares, there's almost is not one rare here that's an essential card. And again, this is the reason why for beginner players, you're going to be getting super rares and legendaries in sets, in your packs, but you're mostly going to be getting one rare. And you have Heartachoke, I guess. It's hard to even find one essential card in this entire thing. Heartachoke, I guess. You don't even need to run this in... Oh, yeah, you got Starchlord, of course. Obviously. Never mind. You know what? Premium's just going down to D. Obviously, this is... Shut up, guys. Freaking Starchlord. Now, the uncommons are really good. You know what? The one thing you're going to need to buy a couple of Galactic packs for as a beginner player is in order to get environments. Again, Aggro Solar Flare, the budget version, you don't actually need any environments because you're winning so quickly. If they play a problematic environment, just hit them in the face, doesn't matter. But for almost every other deck, you're going to need some environments. And the one thing that the premium set is missing utterly are environments. There were no environments back in set 1. Imagine this game without environments. And even in the commons, there's you got your Spikeweed Sector, your Black Hole. And this is, again, one of the reasons why after you've invested in the commons and rares, basically, of the premium set, definitely buy a couple of packs of Galactic. Literally just get environments. You have some really, really good commons here, too. Alien News for budget players is really, really good. Banana Bomb, Photosynthesizer is not a bad card either. Mostly just the environment cards. You have your Applesauces here, too, which, again, for every aggro solar deck, ridiculously good. Really, really high quality of cards. Overall, again, just for the clarity of this, probably in the legendary slot, it actually is all the way up, but because the rares and the commons, even though they're very necessary, they're not quite as necessary for winning games as the base set. I'm going to be putting this in A, but again, Galactic, really one of the premier classes in this game. And let's move on to Colossal with the big Brontosaur. So when we're looking at Colossal, look at the overall quality of legendaries. It's actually really low. You have a couple of the best ones, which are Triceratops. You got your Gatling P, which again is good in one archetype, so I can't even say this is like, in terms of going for it, in terms of buying packs of an entire set, I can't really say Gatling P should be a good motivator, because if you get it, you're going to need a really specific type of deck to suit that. You're not necessarily going to have all your Ps and everything, but Triceratops on the 100, you throw that in any Guardian. I would say basically I'm up to Pleurodon also. There's at least 3 copies of this in almost every single Smarty deck. Cop Cannon is less useful than it used to be. They used to be like a top tier card when Ramp was better. They nerfed Solar Winds and Briar Rose, so this is becoming less useful. Three-Headed Chomper, again, I made a Walnut control deck where it was called Three-Headed Chomper Control, and that really, was a great example of traditional control decks. Three-Headed Chomper could very likely be better than Cop Cannon, even though, again, this is a top tier card. But you have all these cards like Brontosaurus. Mime is good in a couple decks, not a top tier card. None of these are really even stomping on. So you have a lot of, and Gloomstream also not a top tier card. So again, this is the reason why the legendaries, there's some real gems here. Can't take away any credit from Triceratops, but overall, it's definitely less than the premium, less essential. The super rares here are extremely good. There's a lot of rare. Now that I look at this, you have Con Man. Fireweed is still one of the best cards in the game after the nerf. It replaces an environment in your deck, can be used as an aggro or a tempo card. Split P, I haven't really found the good 3-nut deck. Great Responsibility, this is a very fine control card. Of course, you got Leap. Parasol, not as quite as good. So again, these are a solid group of super rares. Maybe on average, it might even be better than the premium set, who has like a few super rares that are so necessary, but on average, Leap. And of course, you have Leap in this one, so if you're going for fun. The rares, again, it's hard to find the rare here that is really like even a top tier card, other than Elderberry and aggro solar decks. This definitely is, but like the rest of these, I know you have like Blockbuster, this is replaceable. Yeti is good in a few decks, blah, blah. So the rares, again, are really, and this is why, for budget players, don't invest a lot into this, because your rares is mostly what you're getting, and you're mostly getting crap. You can craft your elderberries. You know what I mean? This is it costs 250 sparks. You can easily craft this. Commons, again, there's a few good gems, but in general, the commons are also not very important. I know you got Swabby. Barrel of Barrels used to be a good card. It's not anymore. Most of these are just unusable, completely unusable crap. And that's the reason why, again, it's not quite as good. I'm going to be putting this in B tier. Again, there's a lot of really, really good gems. You have a lot of insanely top tier cards in this, but overall, it is just not enough to make this, let's say, you know, a good nominee for one of the best types of packs or sets in the game. All right, and now we're going to be moving on to, so that was Colossal, and we're going to be moving on to Triassic, which is, again, the final one. I don't know what these are. But anyway. Whew. So, again, look at the legendaries. Which one of these legendaries is one of the best cards in the game? There's actually none. Is there even one S tier legendary? Did I put this in S? Probably put this in A. They're a really good card. Garg Garg, again, it's fun. It's not competitive. There's really, like, no top tier legendaries in this set, which is, yeah, a little unsettling. Rating Raptor is probably a top tier guy. Damn it, this is a card I underuse so much. This
is the event pack, which contains all the event cards.
What is this, Scrubblord? The blue pack is the one that contains all the event cards. You know what? I'm gonna be. I didn't actually get into this at the beginning, so maybe I'll talk about a little bit about the event cards and stuff like that. I'll take a look at the event card pack when I'm done with this set. Headhunter. Okay, Headhunter is a very good card, but again, it's very, very specific types of decks, just dancing decks, and even for most of the crazy heroes, it's not worth really running Headhunter. Like, try to make a Z-Mech dance deck, maybe it would work. Mostly just for Brainstorm, that we found that, like, really consistently works, because you have ramp. Alright, what are the super rares? Again, there's some gems. There's some real gems. You got Hunting Grounds, Primal Walnut. I mean, so you have some really solid cards. Grave Robber is quite good. Rotobega. These are okay. I would say some of them are above average. I can't see any cards here that are, like, on the degree of Conman and Pogo or any of the other cards. I don't even see one, like, S-tier card in this entire bunch. But there's plenty of good gems. There's also a lot of crap. I mean, Strawberrian's kind of unusable. When it comes to the rares, also, I mean, Mustache Monument is one of the best cards in the game. Seriously. Buried Treasure's okay. But really, most of these are almost unusable. Ice Force sometimes is. Most of these are actually unusable, and then when you go over here, most of them are also unusable. You have, again, some of the best cards in the game. You have Little Buddy, you have Monkey Pirate, very good pirates. Trapper Territory is a fine card, but most of these are almost completely unusable. I mean, seriously, I don't think I've ever run Sunny or Shroom in a deck. Maybe one time in a Mushroom Ramp deck I did. Some of them are just average. Goat is okay. It's good in a couple of decks. Raptor, we found, has been good in like 2 decks. Mustache Waxer has been good in 2 decks. Exactly. Mustache Brainstorm or Mustache Morticia. So I am actually going to be putting, particularly because of the low quality of legendaries, super rares, and rares, I'm actually going to be putting this in C tier. Again, there's obviously some gems. Don't say, Fry, why are you putting in C tier? Rating Raptor is an S tier card. I know, but in general, most of these these cards on a competitive level are actually not very good. Again, they all have their uses. We have decks with Potatosaurus, but anytime I've ever run Potatosaurus, between me and you, I could have replaced it with something else. Alright, so before we end this video, I want to talk a little bit about one of the other ones. So I see 2 more. It looks like this is the Event Rewind Bundle. I have no idea what this is. Maybe this is the original art for PvZ Heroes, like what the packs look like before there even was a set 2, maybe. So this is not even going to be spending gems. So this doesn't actually even fit into the video at all, because I don't know if you can see this here, but you actually have to spend real money on this. Maybe I'll try to make a quick comparison. Event cards are quite good. I mean, event cards also can contain legendaries. It just can contain any legendary and any super rare in the game. I'm so confused. What does this pack even contain? It says 3 weekly event cards and 3 cards. Mega bundle bonus. So it just contains 1 event card each? Never mind. Putting this in Bucket Bay tier. This doesn't even fit into the video. This doesn't seem like, it seems like it would be better if you're going to be spend the $21.99 on 23 packs if you're spending money in this game at this point, than spending $27.99 for 4 event cards and then you get 1 legendary. I don't even understand what's it. You get 3 cards. Oh, so you always get 1 event card and then 3 random cards. So for this, you're going to get 1 legendary. This you'll get, on average, 2.3 legendaries. If they're 10%, and you're getting 23, so you'll get maths. If it was 10 packs, you'd get 1 legendary. So you're getting 2.3 leggies. And you're also getting average 30% super rares, so that would be about 8 super rares as opposed to 4 event cards. So 8 super rares is definitely better than 4 event cards. Yeah, just ignore this one. I would also, maybe if there's one more thing worth mentioning, I would not invest in the Solar Flare, the ZMech pack, the specific heroes, because these are literally the exact same amount of packs as the other ones, except that they cost twice as much. This you get exactly the same amount for 200 or for 2,000 as you get for 100 or 1,000. So I know sometimes if you're going for one hero and you're really trying to build that up, I mean, maybe it would be worth it short term, but long term you definitely want to be getting more cards. If you're getting literally twice as much cards, not investing in just one hero, I would say probably better just to stick to the basic premium Galactic, Tragic, and Colossal packs. That is my suggestion. Hope you guys enjoyed. That was the pack tier list and how to open up packs in PvZ Heroes. Peace, this is Fry. That was a nice short tier list. Did I miss anything, guys? Open some packs. That was short. Yeah, today we're doing a few different short tier lists. The next one, I'll have time for another one here. I have 2 more I could possibly do today. One is keywords and one is tokens. I think I'm gonna do keywords, and I'll see if I have time. We will either do tokens after that, or we'll do it next week. I'm gonna do keywords next. I missed blowgun. Of course I did. It was invisible. I didn't think the $15 donation. When did that happen? The last 2 are common and event set. Oh, Barry Bama just messaged me. So this is the event set, and these are the common packs. Oh, I see. Like when you open them at the beginning of the game. Oh, I see. Fine. I didn't have to go through that anyway because it's not really relevant. You get those automatically. Okay, cool. That's what these are, right? It's been so long. Right when you are unlocking your heroes, you start unlocking these packs. Way cool. I'll try, if I remember, I just marked something down on my computer. I'll include that little explanation in the video if I remember. I'll probably see it. Is the bot not working? I just opened my Streamlabs. So thank you to Scrublord. When did this happen? I must have missed it. The blue pack is the event pack, which contains all the event cards. Right. I said that. Thank you so much to Scrublord. Oh, sorry, I didn't realize it was a donation. I thought it was a sub or something. Thank you so much. $15. Holy moly with that. I'm sorry. I really should have acknowledged that more. Right when I'm in the middle of tier mode explanation. Tier list mode. Hard for me to be aware of my surroundings fully. Alright, I'm going to take a 1-minute break, then we're going to come back and do this one. I will see you guys in 1 minute. Just a little breather here. Does this even work? Imagine working. Hello. 1 minute, sorry. That was at least 2 minutes. I went to get an apple, I'm sorry. I need some blood sugar before this next one. This is fun. I like doing tier lists. It's fried daddy, definitely. Med Bay? What is that? Does Amazon Prime cost money in Sweden? I don't know. Check it out. Here's the link. That should give you a link directly to Amazon Prime there. Keep clicking. Fry, I love you. You guys are so nice. If you do a hair tier list, do something, you'll donate bits. You're so nice. Alright. Rubber Duck is best card in game. Changed my mind. Nah. Impressions tier list. OnlyFans. Why? I get asked that 50 times a day. I'll just send my feet pics on OnlyFans. Jeez. You guys are crazy. I have 600 guys who want to see my feet pics and no girlfriends. That's my life. It's bouncing itself count as bounce, technically. How tall am I? 6 feet tall. Alright, let's go. I'll probably just do this one. We'll save the tokens for next week. That's my guess. Someone's coming. The zombies are coming. Thank you, Lego Brickster.
Daddy? Right, it was me who subbed.
Oh, thank you, Lego
earlier.
Brickster, for subbing.
Daddy? Also, I really like your content and style of humor. Keep it up.
She went camping.
And Tati. And Tati. Tati.
I'm in the middle of streaming, guys. Why don't you go upstairs and play?
Tati.
Yes. Are you hungry?
Yeah.
Go tell
Daddy,
me you're hungry. She can be like,
Daddy,
okay. I'm gonna be done in a... What?
I was thinking you but I never watched you stream and you never let me use
Boys,
your phone.
today is not a good day. You can use my phone later. Please go back upstairs. Okay?
Oh my God.
I love you. They're so cute. I know, they're derps. I'll have some time this afternoon and spend a little more time with them. I've just been working all morning. We'll be done here in half an hour. So sweet. How many things do we have on this tier list? About 20. Ugh. Why is Baby Fry so cute? Good genetic material. If you know what I'm saying. If you know what I'm saying. Alright, y'all ready for this? Imagine having a dad. Wow. Is it worth it to buy heroes at 750 gems? I didn't explain that. Oh, I need to explain that. I need to explain that in the video. Oh, I forgot. I totally forgot. I totally forgot. Thank you. Thank you for reminding me that. That has to go in the video. So I'm going to make a highlight here. Alright, we're going to insert this into the video, I guess right after I explained the short explanation. So I'll put the screen back where it was. Wonder if I can get another copy of this. What the hell? Where's presentation mode? I guess I'll just take these off. Not that hard. Alright. This is one of this. Also, guys, you should not be spending your gems on heroes, in my opinion. I mean, maybe if you have all of the elements for Valk, Trickster, Hybrid, and who does, you know, and you really need Professor Brainstorm, maybe in a situation like that you can actually buy a new hero. But in general, if you just look at how much the packs cost, it costs 750 gems to buy a new hero. Maybe you get a pack, I don't know, it's been so long. Also, but in general, 750 gems is 7.5 packs. In my opinion, it is better to make your current heroes better than spreading yourself thin and acquiring more heroes, and then now you're gonna have a lot of heroes that suck. Instead, it's much better to have a few heroes, which again, there's some really good starting heroes: Solar Flare, Infinity, really top notch. Smash for budget players, so try to work on making those better by buying packs instead of buying more heroes. And if you're buying I believe it's just in the premium set, you also do have a 3% chance of getting a hero. So if you're going to be playing this game for a while and you're going to be buying a lot of packs, eventually those heroes will drop for you. I've even seen people open up multi-packs and getting several heroes inside. Obviously, it's very lucky for that to happen statistically, but yeah, again, really, in my opinion, invest in packs, not in heroes. Alright, we did that one. Now let's move to this one. See if I remember to stick that in the video. Oh my gosh. Don't buy the hero, only the packs. Anyway, it's free real estate. I'm gonna go check my P.O. box this afternoon. So thank you guys. It seems like 2 people, Jax and Ribsy, both sent me things. So maybe I'll open those up on stream tomorrow. You'll remind me while I edit. Got Neptuna from back. She's okay. Not one of the better heroes in the game, but okay. Good for budget players if you want to make a Greystone deck. Okay. Next. Let's freaking go. I just have to start this one. Come on, mate. Okay, I'll do this if people don't go crazy here. People get such OCD when I don't recycle my extras, as if that mattered. Okay, let's go. What's going on, everybody? This is Fry. So today we are doing a suggestion that I got from you guys in the comment section of past tier lists. That is the keyword tier list. So that's going to be everything from amphibious to strike through to deadly. We're going to be rating how good competitively are the keywords, how much value does it really add to something to have these keywords. There's a couple of weird keywords too, like you can see bonus attack is coming up, which technically is a keyword because it's sort of a word that just means something in this game. So I'll include everything that my tier list, professional tier list compiler has compiled for me. Thank you again to Barry Bama for making all these really professional looking icons for these tier lists. And we are just going to begin. Now, when I get into every single one, we're going to be starting with amphibious. I'm just going to go to search and I'm going to type in the word amphibious. So we're going to be able to see in general what are all the cards in the tier list. So I'm going to be sort of rating in terms of the practical usage. Are there good cards with amphibious or with anti-hero, with armor, etc.? But I'm mostly going to be rating on how much value does that keyword actually give to cards that have it. So here's amphibious. We're going to start with the plants. I think amphibious, in my opinion, is an extremely overrated concept in this game in general. It was sort of right when I started playing this game, sort of a clever idea. They have these, most of the cards can only be played on the ground, but then you have amphibious ones can be played, specifically one lane for the amphibious lane. It sort of is reminiscent of the original Plants vs. Zombies, where there are some cards like Lily Pad and stuff like that that can only be played in the water. So, in general, though, in my opinion, I think amphibious is actually, for the most part, is trash. Because a minion in general being in the water lane doesn't matter. It does, if you have amphibious minions in your deck, sometimes it opens up 5 lanes. Like if you're running some kind of swarm deck, maybe you're running a deck with Swabby, or Bad Moon Rising, it'll make you have a Bad Moon Rising potentially in more lanes. If you have a dancing deck, you can get a bigger flamenco because you can have 5 cards in the field. But in general, that does not matter. Usually, if you're able to keep 4 cards on the field for a significant amount of turns consecutively, you're anyway winning the game then, because that means you're really taking over with your tempo. And thank you so much, Jerthquake. Thank you so much. Welcome to the family. I have my volume all the way down. That's the reason why I can't hear any of these subs. Turn that back up. All right. So, yeah. So I really think amphibious is crap. Now, there's something really unique about amphibious, is that on the plant side, you actually have amphibious synergy. And that is with this couple cards. You have Navy Bean, which will make all your amphibious plants 1/1. It's kind of weird to have actually a keyword synergy. Most of them do not. And then you have Bog of Enlightenment that works with amphibious. Is there any other amphibious synergy? Anyway, but again, amphibious decks, we used to have a little fun with Citron and do snake grass and protect it with Citron superpowers, and this will grow, and then you come in with the Navy Bean. Really, those are not top tier decks at all. Oh, and Marine Bean. Thank you guys. I knew there was one other amphibious synergy card. Marine Bean also gains 1/1. Again, when I saw this, I got excited. I'm like, oh, amphibious synergy is going to be a thing. No, it's not. This isn't a good card. It's so hard to have even one other amphibious minion on the field, and then this is like a 4/3. Okay, that's fine stats. You really need there to be 2 amphibious minions to survive, to basically be on the field for this to even be, even get its value. Otherwise, this is usually just a 3-cost 3/2, which is not very good.
We need a leap.
Thank you, Lego
Absolute
Brickster,
most fun keyword is
for
conjure.
subscribing. Really appreciate it. It looks like there's your sub. Anyway, I'll tell you another problem I have with amphibious minions. The good amphibious minions, by the way, like Dragon and like Brainana, they're not good because they're amphibious. If these cards were not amphibious, they would be basically just as good. How many times do you end up playing Dragon in the water? 1 out of every 10. Usually, since this has splash damage, you want to play in the water. Brainana's nice because it adds a little attack in the water, but it's really not necessary. There's even the good amphibious cards didn't even need to be amphibious. It doesn't add anything. I guess we'll go and just check this real quick on the zombie side. Again, there's some good amphibious cards, but this didn't need to be amphibious to be good, really. You almost never play Goat in the water because then it just pings your opponent's block meter. You usually want to stick this in front of something. Pop it back into your hand. You don't need amphibious minions in your deck. All you need is sometimes a way to deal with your opponent's amphibious minions. And the only real card That's an amphibious card that you just need to be able to answer, and it really benefits a lot from being in the water lane because of its low stats, is Toxic Waste Imp. This is like the one card that, because this doesn't just affect itself. If this was just a 2-cost 2/2, obviously would stink. This affects your entire field and makes all of your guys deadly, which is a very strong keyword in this game. We'll get to that a little bit later. So you do need an answer to Toxic Waste, but again, you don't need an amphibious minion to answer this, because usually you'll have Berry Blast, you'll have Banana Bomb, you'll even have, I guess, Sweet Pea is a good answer to this sort of thing, can drag it out of the amphibious lane. You know, Hot Day. Usually, whatever you have, whether it be a big card, you're going to have your normal big removal, and your small cards are going to have normal small removal. Anyway, nowadays in the meta, Toxic Waste Imp is not such a huge play around. It used to be much more prevalent, but it really is not used quite as often. So I really think, okay, I'm going to tell you one more thing about the amphibious tribe. And this is the real reason why amphibious decks are not good. It's because whenever the devs added amphibious keyword to a card, they always reduced its stats. Like, look how bad. This is the only keyword that says has team up to amphibious. Try to find like a really good example. Like, a 3-cost 3/2 is not good. The only thing this has is amphibious, and it really does not make up for its poor stats. Even Mayflower, that has a similar amount of stats, not a very good ability, because it's going to be conjuring you random stuff. Like, what's another really good example of this? Like, Stingbean, again, we've had this is useful in a couple decks, but the amount that this is so much worse than Galactic Cactus. So much worse. Even if this was like a 1-cost 2/2 Bullseye, like, I feel like the amphibious maybe then would like make it a playable card, as opposed to Galactic Cactus sometimes. I guess it's a bean that helps. But like, they usually remove stats from amphibious cards, with a couple of exceptions, of course. So that's the reason why the tempo deck, like Amphibious Synergy, this would be good as a tempo sort of strategy, is not very good because you're running a tempo deck with horrible cards. They don't have good stats. And I really think Amphibious in general, it's almost completely useless. And this is going to be, I'm going to put this so low, because I hate the idea. They needed to make amphibious cards basically have at least par stats, and then the amphibious thing is the special. Not give them below par stats. I'm actually putting amphibious in come on man tier, because I really think this is just a flaw. You never need amphibious minions in your deck. It doesn't add enough. In fact, it takes away, because usually they're detracting the stats. Come on, there's just so much come on man in that class. And again, I'm not saying that all amphibious cards are bad. I'm saying Dragon did not need to be amphibious. The actual keyword adds almost nothing to this card. That's my point. All right. Next. Oh, this isn't amphibious, but it adds to amphibious. It synergizes with the amphibious keyword, even though you're right. It's obviously not amphibious. This should have been, though. Next, we got Anti-Hero. I'll just type the whole thing in so we don't get any confusion here. All right, so here are the anti-hero cards. So you got 3 on the, you got 3 of them on the plus. Are there any anti-hero zombies? I'm sorry, spacing out right now. There are. There's more. How good is anti-hero? Anti-hero, of course, makes them only do damage. A certain amount of damage, unspecified, of course, when they're dry. So this isn't this isn't a great ability. This is not a great ability. First of all, most of the cards are just not good. I mean, this is like good in Pyro decks, maybe. This card I maybe should use more often, because again, the anti-hero makes it do 5/2. The problem with most of the anti-hero cards, though, even with Kitchen Sink, is it really makes them like weaker. Like a 1-cost 1/1 sucks. They're justifying this by making it have anti-hero 2, but that it's at what cost? You know what I mean? If this was a 1/2 with anti-hero 2, I feel like that would be, you know, or a 1/3 even, like that would actually be pretty decent stats for a 1-drop, but they had to reduce the 1 health just to make it like balanced, so it wouldn't be too strong. I don't think this would be too strong as a 1/2 or even a 1/3. It still wouldn't be as strong as Conman. And when these get fronted, of course, then they're weak pieces of garbage. Now, I happen to think that we did a deck recently with OTK Poison Oak. By the time this video comes out, I probably won't have that on YouTube yet. It was just a complete meme deck anyway. We happened to use the anti-hero property mostly in Poison Ivy. This is probably, again, in Aggro Solar Flare. This is a really, really good aggro card. I've had a lot of success with this in Captain Combustible as well. So Poison Ivy is a good card, and then the problem is it gets covered by something else, like they put a minion in front of it, then you upgrade it to Elderberry, or you can remove whatever they played in front of you and hit it again. So it's somewhat useful. You can also use this in budget decks. In general, again, I don't think the anti-hero, the only reason why for Poison Ivy, by the way, which is what I was showing you before, is a good card, is because it has 3 health. So at least is on par in terms of health. And I really think this is the way all of the anti-hero cards should have been made in this game. They have the normal amount of health, which is 3, and then they have this very low attack when it's fronted and extremely high attack. 5/3 is ridiculous for a 3-drop when it's not fronted. I feel like they kind of missed that with this, which for the same price should have 2 health, and Poison Oak anyway should just be cheaper. And especially cards like again, the reason Mini Ninja, Stealthy Imp, and Space Pirate are all below average cards is because they have very, very poor health. They're very easy to remove, which obviously negates all the damage that they could possibly do. Even this Kitchen Sink, it's sometimes useful, but it's a pretty expensive card for what it does. Usually you want your 6-cost cards taking over the game a little bit more than Kitchen Sink will. It doesn't really have any abilities if you just Shamrocket it. It's dead. So anyway, where are we going to put Anti-Hero on the tier list? It's definitely better than Amphibious. It definitely has some uses. I'm not going to say it's completely useless. In general, Anti-Hero, I think the ability itself is pretty good, but the problem is that a lot of the cards, it came at a cost of their health. I'm just in general going to put this in C. It's just kind of below average. Not very good, but again, it's you know, Anti-Hero is the entire feature of Poison Ivy, for example, which is a pretty good card. I could put this in low C or high D. Basically be around there. All right. Next is Armored. Armored is such a great idea, but what they did again with Armored is they took all the Armored cards and just made them, they're not good enough. The plant side's a little bit harder to see this. The great example of this, though, is on the zombie side. For all those of you who have been around this game as long as I have, you'll know that Conehead, the most classic, iconic zombie in the entire franchise, when this was created, it actually was a 2/3 with 1 armor, which made it a very strong stat card. Very, very difficult card to remove on turn 2. Didn't do much more than just heavy stats, but, I mean, that was a ridiculous amount. It's better than being a 2/4. Armor is better than having 1 health, usually. The only exception is if this gets, like, weed whacked, it'll kill the 2 health with armor instead of the 3 health, but usually this is because if you have armor, if you're pinged multiple times, it actually adds more than 1 health. Especially if you can add some health to cards like these. The 1 armor will account for a lot more health than 1 health would have. So I count armor as almost like 1.5 health, basically. But right now, Conehead in its current state is completely unusable. I mean, this is the problem, is that they said, well, it was too strong at 2/3 with armor, which, by the way, it was not. It was maybe too strong for a basic card, but thank you, PopCap. It's certainly I would love to see this go back to 2/3 with armor. I think that would actually make it useful. I'd love to see a little better tempo on the zombie side. I would say probably the best card for armor that actually applies is a Planetary Gladiator, because again, this does have an insane amount of health, including the armor for a 1-drop, and the whole point of this is to be absorbing a lot of damage. You can add some health to this and just becomes better. So, and also the Gladiator, it doesn't take any damage now from cards like Astro Shroom, which again, this is like the answer to Cycle Cap, where you're just doing 1 damage at a time. Even like against Admiral Navy Marine does too. It takes so long to kill this Planetary Gladiator, slows down opponents a lot. Really, a lot of these, like Buckethead is just, this thing should have 3 armor. It still wouldn't be a good card even if it had 3. The only thing with 2 armor, of course, in the game is Knight, but again, this is also a really horrible card. Just does not do enough for a set. Way too expensive. This thing could cost 5. It wouldn't even be that good of a card. Little armor on the football cards. This doesn't have armor, but it creates something with armor. On the plant side, so again, the good armored card is Juggernaut, but it's completely outclassed by Triceratops.
You got hurt. I shooting something at Schwartz's head.
They're playing with dart guns. Apparently, had a dart gun related injury.
I shooting something
I'll be right back, guys.
at Schwartz's head. Now we got hurt.
Sorry, guys. It's just a crazy day. I should have just really locked the door here and let the babysitter take care of them, but they always come in here. Anyway, on the plant side, I would say Juggernaut, again, is probably the one gem, but it's not very good because it's outclassed by Triceratops. These are all not extremely useful cards. I know Soul Patch is cool in the same way Gladiator does, but again, Gladiator as a one-cost card is very, very versatile. Soul Patch is very, very hard to even find at a place in any deck. So, in general, Armor is extremely, extremely sad. It definitely has some uses, but it's useful basically in one card, and in most of them, it's just, ugh. I really love the idea of Armor in a game. There's no Armor synergy. They could totally do that. I'm just putting Armor in D tier. The one Armor... It really does not... It's always coming at the cost of a health, and it's not very much better than having one extra health. It's a little better, but... Armor. Alright, here comes Bonus Attack. Now, this is called a keyword, even though you don't have cards that are like... They just say Bonus Attack on it, so it's not that kind of keyword. But it really is a key phrase, let's say, that means something. You know what I mean? You have to... Bonus Attack is a thing in this game. It's part of the code. And Bonus Attack... on both the plant side and the zombie side is literally one of the best things in the entire game, and I'm going to be putting this easy in S tier. It's the best way of winning is just shoving bonus attacks down their face. Mustache Monument, Trickster, bonus attacks, even Gadget Scientist can really, really get it done. Of course, you have on the plant side. Why is bonus attack not here? Oh, there. Now it is. You have the almighty Repeat Moss Gatling Peep. Plant Food is just auto-include in every single deck. Of course, the reason why Wingnut is the better card than Bonus Track Buckethead, even though they have the same ability. First of all, Wingnut is a plant. Plants are usually better than zombies in general because they have last say when it comes to minions. Plants are better. But also... The plants, the zombies use bonus attack or frenzy we're going to be getting into basically in every single class in order to win, and bonus attacks on the plant side are only used in one class, which is the Mega Grow, making bonus track Buckethead very circumstantial. That's good to run in a deck. Wingnut is not circumstantial, and its ridiculous stats actually really do make it kind of worth running in any deck if you can find room for it. So bonus attack, definitely one of the best keywords in the game. Don't try this though. Obviously, Repeat Moss decks with Captain Combustible are ridiculously good. We've had some really good Pod Fighter decks as well. Now, really, included in the word Frenzy, I believe it might even say, does it not even say bonus attacks? No. Like, I think if you click on the word Frenzy, when this destroys a plant, attacks again. Okay, so it doesn't actually say that. Or else this would actually have brought up all the Frenzy. We'll get into Frenzy in a second. Frenzy is a good ability. Time to Shine is also, you guys are right. It's also there. Someone said in the chat, don't forget Time to Shine. I mean, this is the reason why this is one of the best powers in the entire... This is the best superpower in the entire game by a nice margin, to be quite honest. And making a plant do bonus attack for one is completely broken. One of the reasons Grass Knuckles and Captain Combustible are two of the best heroes, really single-handedly. All right, next. Next, we're getting to Bounce. Bounce is actually, I think, a very underrated power. Some people think, the mistake I think a lot of new players make when it comes to Bounce is saying, hey, it doesn't really remove the card from the field. It just bounces it back into their hand so they can replay it the next turn. But having to spend all of the resources on a card to play the next turn, there's two problems. First of all, they don't have it on the field this turn. So you're going to have a board state. If you can bounce something, even just with Jumping Beam, which is a fine card. If your board state this turn is still going to be stronger. Bouncing is cheap. You're not going to have a 5-cost 3/2 that destroys a minion. You're going to have one only that bounces. Bouncing costs 3 in this game. Destroying costs, unless it's Shamrocket, which is stupid, costs more around 5. And that's why Shamrocket's a dumb card. So bouncing, again, you can make bounce synergy decks, which is actually not only synergetic with Jelly Bean, because this grows every single time you bounce something, but even more importantly, a lot of the beans are the ones bouncing, particularly these 3 cards, plus it's a tempo strategy. You are getting guys on the field and they are not. The fact that they have to replay their bounced minion next turn, if they've spent, let's say you have Spring Bean, if they've spent 4 brains, on a minion and you spring bean it off for 3 brains sun and you're able to play a 1-drop that turn, they're going to have to spend, again, another 4 brains to replay that to counter your spring bean, let alone if that card that you bounced off cost 6 or 7 or 8. You know, just having to replay, it's such a disadvantage in terms of tempo that they're going to have to be replaying that card. So really underrated on the plan side, and then especially when you get to the zombie side. Whoops. We'll take a look at bounce over here. Hello? Oh, yeah, I did it. Bounce. I had it for a second, but I'll retype it in. So, besides for the cards that bounce, you know what? Bounce yourself. I know this is bounce. It's just a way of describing the mechanic. These don't count as, none of these count as bounce. This is the one. There's really there's 3 good bounce cards. Pogo, one of the best cards in the game, especially because mixed up Gravedigger, you can bounce again. I know I say that a lot. Even Backyard Bounce, really underrated card in this game. This is also fine. Can bounce multiple minions. It's not about stomps, just a meme. There's a lot of, this one is not very good because it's a little too expensive for what it does. It also only bounces what they played the turn before instead of what they're playing that turn. Pogo bounce comes out of the gravestone and bounces what they play the next turn. Anyway, bounce is one of the better keywords in the game. I'm going to be putting bounce in A. And again, I'm not including... Should I take off points because there's so many things that say bounce? No. No. You know what? It's the same thing. The reason why cards like Kangaroo and the Yetis, for example, are not good cards is because the keyword bounce is so good. That's the whole point. This card exemplifies how bounce is such a severe penalty. I think that was the idea behind this card. It's like, well, when it gets hurt, it's not like it dies. It just bounces back in your hand. You have an extra card to replay next turn. It's such a big penalty. Like, I could see that with a 1-cost card. Like Gladiator. Imagine Gladiator had this ability. Like, whenever it takes damage, it bounces off, and then you could replay it for 1. That would be pretty cool. I wonder if they could make, like, a crazy spring Gladiator. I don't even know what it's going to be. That would be awesome, but replaying it for 4. Ugh. Ridiculous. Alright, next we're going to get into Bullseye. Whew, this is a really, really actual good keyword. Now, okay, here's Bullseye. So it seems like something relatively simple. And that is that it's not going to charge your opponent's block meter. Okay, I mean, usually anyway, you have to hit them every 4 times they hit their block meter. This is a really, really big deal. First of all, it makes you just end up doing throughout the game so much more damage. If they have an empty block meter, your key shots are going to be able to hit, especially if you're playing cards on turns 1, 2, 3. Usually, they're going to be blocking like on turn 4 or 5. And that's usually a lot of damage that you're doing that turn. If you have even had 1 or 2 of those shots being Bullseye, you're going to get that damage in. Bullseye is really worth a lot. A Bullseye, for me, is almost worth an entire point of damage, sometimes even more. Because, like, what would you rather do? 3 damage or 2 Bullseye? My answer usually is 2 Bullseye, and sometimes you have that opportunity. Like, you have 2 minions to play. One has 2 Bullseye, one has 3 damage. You usually want to get the 2 Bullseye in. Obviously, depends on the situation. Also, if you are Bullseye, then you can finish off opponents. They just have 2 health left, but they got a full block meter, Galactic Cactus. Any of your Bullseye cards are going to absolutely wreck them. Bullseye is really necessary for cards like Astro Shroom. That would be really, really bad if they were constantly charging your opponent's block meter. Another thing about Bullseye, the fact not only do you end up doing more damage when your cards have Bullseye, there's another important thing too. Your opponent doesn't block, so your opponent does not get those free superpowers. Superpowers are worth a lot. There's a lot of really good, each superpower is worth like a 2 or 3 cost card, and if you play it right when you block, you get to play that for free. So you're basically going to, every time you block and your opponent doesn't, you get an extra 2 sun or brains worth of value on your field than your opponent does, which is a really insane amount of tempo. Blocking in this game is super, super OP. It's kind of something very unique about PvZ Heroes. Cards like Conan, there's so many good. The Bullseye is ridiculous. This card didn't even need Bullseye. It's just really, really good. I love giving extra attack, by the way, to your teleportation zombie and gatekeeper in their Bullseye. You put Maniacal Laugh or even, Sugar Retreat on these, and then use Gadget Scientist bonus attack. You can just completely wreck opponents that way. This is kind of the ultimate Bullseye card because it not only Bullseye, but it drains their block meter, which is kind of cool. Anyway, guys, Bullseye is really, really good. It's an entire way of doing aggro. There's two real ways of doing aggro. One is high attack cards. The other one is a lot of small Bullseye cards, and it's a very, very legitimate way of making decks in this game. So Bullseye overall, I'm going to be putting in A tier because I really it's actually a premier strategy, not just in 1 or 2 decks, but in a lot of decks. Bullseye really, really, really good. It used to be True Strike. That's the name of Bullseye used to be way back in the day. All right, next is Conjure. Conjure, of course, means it's different than drawing a card. Drawing a card means you pick it off your deck. Conjure means it's going to be appearing not from your deck. It's just going to be created into the game and then go into your hand that way. Conjure is very good. Now you have, of course, Conjure synergy with Dr. Spacetime and Captain Cucumber, both of them. One's on the zombie side, one's on the plant side. They'll make your conjures cost less. Conjure has 2 things. Let's talk about Conjure. There's competitive Conjure, and then there's fun Conjure. And don't leave fun out, because fun is important. In a game, you want to have fun. But competitive Conjure actually works. It gives you cards as long as the cards are conjuring decent cards. So if you're running a card like Starchler, for example, that if you go and you look up the word root and you see the possible cards to conjure, they're mostly just F-tier, trash, garbage, bucket bay, cremation station cards. That's the reason why Starchlord is also a piece of trash, utterly useless garbage. If this would actually conjure good cards, maybe that would be making up for its horrible stats for a 4-drop. But if you have cards, let's say, even like Photosynthesizer, the overall Galactic Gardens, there's a lot of really good cards in that set, as you would know if you watch the tier list video on the sets. If you have a card which is conjuring legendaries, again, there's some bad legendaries in the game. For most of all, they're going to be good in almost every single deck. A lot of the best cards in the game are legendaries. If Cosmic Bean, so again, conjuring a random bean and giving it team up is not very good for this card, but if you have Admiral Navy Bean in that deck, this all of a sudden now becomes a good one because it's conjuring you what you need to win instead of pieces of trash garbage. So you can definitely build decks around Captain Cucumber. You can just add Captain Cucumber as an extra win condition. He'll usually be hitting once or twice and really give you those late game cards that you need. Conjure on the zombie side too. Again, the main synergy for Conjure is going to be Spacetime, who's conjuring cards, also makes all your cards conjure cost less, but you can build it around him or you don't have to, because again, if you're conjuring random superpower, Quasar Wizard is a good card. If your conjure cards come from Cheese Cutter and they cost 1 less, this is I talked about Cheese Cutter in the Beastie tier list. The gourmet cards are very good to be conjuring, especially if they cost 1 less, especially early in the game. That's the reason why Cheese Cutter is very good. So again, if you're conjuring good things, it's a good idea. If you're conjuring mediocre cards with a 4-cost card, it's usually pretty bad. But overall, Conjure is a competitive strat. There's so many decks will have some form of Conjure in it, and it's also an extremely fun strat. I mean, it's really one of the most fun things in the game is Conjure, Leap, Bad Moon Rising, and Molecule, which is also like Leap. Like those are like, so in terms of fun value, we're definitely going to be putting Conjure a little bit higher on the tier list. So because of its both competitive value and its fun value, I'm going to be putting Conjure in A tier. Absolutely fantastic. Love Conjure. Some people don't like Conjure. Some people feel like it ruins the game. It doesn't make it competitive enough. I could imagine if this game was like super sweaty try hard and that was the whole way it was being made, then yeah, don't have Conjure. But you know what? Not even Hearthstone is super sweaty try hard. They're trying to really make it fun, and I do think Conjure makes this game like twice as fun, so definitely going in A tier. Next, we're going to Deadly. So there's no deadly plants. I guess I'll just use this to exemplify it. Deadly is a zombie-only keyword. Deadly really adds a lot. Now, there's not even a lot of Deadly cards. The other thing that we're missing, which is actually very important, it's probably the most commonly nowadays played Deadly card, is of course one of the best superpowers, probably the best zombie superpower in the game, which is Super Stench, at least of the regular ones. This will give all of your zombies Deadly draw a card. Deadly makes every single trade either be even or win the trade. So it works in terms of tempo. It works in terms of control because you're able to remove cards using deadly minions. You don't want to really be making a habit of just sticking a bunch of deadly minions in front of your opponent's minions. That's sort of a mistake. That's the reason why Smelly Zombie, you're sticking this in front of what they played the turn before, not what they're playing this turn. But if you're teleporting in deadly minions, which we definitely have had success doing that with few Giganticas, you definitely can get it done. But I would say the main, again, deadly card is actually this. Adding this to a field, you're establishing some tempo. You have a couple little this and that. If it's Infinity, who also has this power, you have your little Infinity clones, Imps, even Pogos on the field. They're very unthreatening. They try to make a good trade against them, and then all of a sudden this card comes in super stun. So deadly does add a lot. I can't say it's really very dominant, so I'm not going to give this a super high tier. Just overall, I'm going to be putting this in B. Again, it's a very strong keyword. Doesn't have a lot of practical uses in the game, even though it certainly does have several. And again, the two heroes that have direct access to deadly through the superpowers. That's really good. Again, Toxic Waste Imp. This is a card, sits in the water, makes all your guys deadly. This is a decent card. It dies too badly. There's been cards added to the game like Banana Bomb and Lima Pleurodon and cards. That's some of the reasons why Toxic Waste Imp has become a lot worse. There's a lot of one-cost cards to answer it now, but anyway, we'll put it in B. All right. Next is Dino Roar. I'll start on the plant side for this one too. I love dinosaur decks. I think the word dino will suffice for this. So here's all the Dino Roar cards. Really neat idea that it grows by 1. Almost all the Dino Roars are the same, is that it grows by 1/1 whenever you draw a card. Now, there are some exceptions. These Raptors only grow by 1 attack instead of 1 health. Lima Pleurodon. I guess it's actually not true. There's only like 3 Dino Roars that make you grow 1. Most of them are not. These grow by attack. This conjures magic beanstalks into your deck, which is cool. Really unique, and this will heal your guys for 1 every single time. So again, dinosaurs are really good. Some of these are some of the better cards, literally better cards in the game, especially Triceratops. It really allows you, now you don't have to actually draw a card in order to trigger Dino Roar. You can also conjure a card, which makes this a lot more useful, combining Triceratops with Captain Cucumber or with Primal Walnut. Really classic combo for Grass Knuckles. Let's see what the Dino Roars are on the zombie side. You're right, most of the Dino Roars, I always have this association that Dino Roar kind of automatically means grow 1/1, but this is grow 1/1 plus insane ability. Not a very good card still because they're hard to activate. This is maybe a little more useful. This will make a random guy. This will do 2 damage a random lane, grow your guys, and this grows by 2 instead of 1. So kind of cool mixed bag. I would say the dinos on the plant side are easily better than the zombie side. The only really good dinosaur is probably this one. The rest of these are a little too expensive for what they do. Every once in a while, you'll find good decks with other dinosaurs, but yeah, so Dino Roar is weird because it depends Dino Roar what. I think it also depends how much the card costs. It's kind of like hard to say how much Dino Roar itself adds to a card. So I'm going to really just base this in terms of what the general, how good the cards are. I think the plants are extremely good, very top tier, list tier. Zombies, maybe a little bit less. I'll put Dino Roar in B. I think it's very solid. And it's fun. It's also fun. It enables Conjure. It makes a very fun strategy actually good. So, alright. That's what we're doing. Here's Double Strike. Double Strike is the next. This is going to be on plants only. We'll look into Double Strike. Not a whole lot of cards with Double Strike. Several of them are very, very bad. I mean, this is one of the worst cards in the game. Cosmic Fee. Also not very good. Really, this is... Coffee Grounds is also one of the worst environments in the game. The reason is, of course, is because giving a guy Double Strike, this is not an ability which applies immediately to a card. You have to wait till the attack phase for this to work, and that gives your opponent an ability to either remove your card off the field, the minion off the field, or remove this environment. So I would say there's an intrinsic flaw in Double Strike, the fact that it doesn't do anything until the attack phase. I know Deadly is sort of like that, but Deadly on the zombie side is way better than a keyword on the plant side, because keywords on the plant side can be removed by zombie tricks and environments as opposed to Deadly. Also, you can use Deadly and bonus attack together. A little difference there. Now, Bananasaurus Rex, this makes it do a lot more damage, so Double Strike is quite good with this card. It's also very good with Gatling P. Gatling P, the main ability, is actually the fact it does that first bonus attack with the P evolution. That's sort of like the strength of this card. The Double Strike definitely doesn't hurt, especially if you get this on a Sting Bean in the water. Ridiculous amounts of damage. Overall, Double Strike is a pretty weak ability, but it is very useful. I'm just going to put it in C. It's just about average. Most of the time, though, Double Strike is garbage, even though it's not even really like the entire thing of why It's kind of the entire thing why Bananasaurus Rex is, not a little bit less so for Gatling, even though it definitely adds something. Alright. Next is the word evolution. So this is something they added in the, was it Triassic or Colossal? It's all just a blur to me at this point. Looks like Colossal. But anyway, your evolution means, of course, you stick it onto another card. So evolution is actually a keyword which sometimes is really good, sometimes is bad. If the entire card is only good when it has evolution, it makes actually the card a lot worse. That's actually one of the intrinsic flaws of Savage Spinach, because this is only useful 4 cost 3/6. It's only useful when you have evolution, and the evolution is very specific. So it really depends what kind of evolution. General evolution is obviously way better. The reason this isn't good is because there's not a lot of very good cheap leafy cards in the game. Cards, again, this is Team Up Evolution, which is also very specific, but Cop Cannon is in general. 6 cost 6/6 has a very good ability even without the evolution, and the evolution does a lot. Destroy a Zombie is a really, really valuable, evolution. So it depends so much what the specific is, what the card is, how much it costs, and Destroy a Zombie. Generally, though, the thing that all evolution has in common is you gotta run a lot of cheap cards in your deck in order to buff it up. Of course, you got Chromag here. Again, it's very limited because you have to have that 1 cost card. Every once in a while, though, this is obviously ridiculous. And Chromag adds, like 7 attack to your field, which is a lot for a card like this. Again, you need very specific mushrooms. So Gloom Mushroom's okay. Every once in a while, this is amazing. Makes you have to build specific deck archetypes. This ability, again, doing a bonus attack for P evolution, very specific, but really, really good ability. I would say the same thing with Elderberry. Now, its ability of gaining 3 is not the strongest ability. It is for a strike-through card, though. Plus, it's Plant Evolution, which is very non-specific. Let's see what we got on the zombie side. Evolution's a cool concept. I don't have a problem with it. I just have a problem because it just ruins a lot of cards. It happens to be we found the uses out of Headhunter, but poor Gizzard Lizard. It probably, if this didn't have evolution, it was just 3, do 2 to each plant. It still wouldn't be like OP. Maybe it would. You'd have to teleport it in order for it to affect what you're playing this turn because it's a dry minion. It's good with Blob. Evolution seems strong. It's kind of bad instead. It also just makes the Primeval Cheese Shover. Not only is this a card that only controls what they played the turn before, but it also costs you an entire zombie to play and gives you a crappy one relative to its cost. Where are we going to put evolution? It's tough. I mean, there's a lot of really strong evolutions in this game. Headhunters is good. Fossil Head is good. I know Evolutionary Leap ended up in here, but it's not an actual evolution card. It's either in B or C. Ugh, there's so much crap in here. But again, we have had good success with Yeti. I'll actually give this the benefit of the doubt and put evolution in B. The reason is, again, even though there's a lot of really crappy evolution cards, but there are some that really are extremely good, and it's sort of like a nice little concept in this game. So I'll give it the low B, high C. Right. Next, we are gonna do freeze. I guess freeze is a keyword. Freeze is mostly just about Ice Age Baby decks. How come Ice Age Baby isn't here? Yes! Ice Age Baby is dead. What the heck? Why is it not... Did it say Frozen instead of Freeze? Frozen! Ice Age Baby didn't even make the list. It's going up at least 10 tiers. Yes. No, it's Freeze, guys. Frozen is not a keyword. Frozen doesn't even count. It's not even a thing, guys. It's not... Stupid Ice Age Baby. Alright, good. You know, this was gonna go in F tier, but now we have something to talk about. Freeze is really annoying to play against, though. I might put this in F tier anyway. Frozen. It's kind of crap. I guess Winter Squash is also not here. How would I even include these? I have to have just FR? Oh my gosh, this is not working. Let it go, let it go. Guys, we have Frozen Synergy. Overall, Freeze is an okay strategy. It's not even top tier, especially on the zombie side. Most of the Freeze cards are actually garbage. It's an okay with the Yeti, okay with the mustache. It's just not worth it. It's kind of really bad. The problem is with Freeze is that it doesn't really remove any of their stats off the field, so it prevents damage. Almost think of this as like healing for a little bit. Every once in a while it can make a good trade. If you freeze something that you have a minion in front of, it's good. Also, if you have Winter Squash removing cards, if you have a 1-cost card like Ice Age Baby who's benefiting from the freeze and growing insane amounts for a 1-cost card, that's what actually makes Ice Age Baby competitive. Alright, Freeze is going in F. I hate Freeze. I hate Freeze. Never mind. It didn't make it. It didn't make it. It was going to be higher. It was going to be... Freeze sucks. Freeze is garbage. Freeze is completely garbage. I don't care. I don't care. Plus Ice Age Baby. Ugh. Ugh. Gross. Alright, next. Next is Frenzy. We're going in alphabetical order, by the way. For those of you who didn't know. Alright. So, Frenzy it's a zombie-only thing. This is actually one of the better keywords in the game. We're going to get into Strike Through later. I honestly think that Strike Through is better than Frenzy. Maybe I'll explain that now. Strike Through works even if your own minion dies. If a Frenzy minion dies, it does not do Frenzy. That's one of the biggest differences between Frenzy and Strike Through. Every once in a while, you'll find Frenzy be better than Strike Through. It's very, very rare to find those occasions. But nonetheless, Frenzy is quite good on the zombie side. Mostly because of this one card, and that is going viral. This is one of the best win condition cards in the entire game. It makes all of your guys, instead of just being lumps of coal sitting on the field, actually makes them able to hit your opponent's face, which is the point of PvZ Heroes, is to do 20 damage to your opponent's hero. People forget that a lot. Now, there's a lot of Frenzy cards which are not very good. Because of their Frenzy and maybe other abilities, they end up with really weak stats. Your guys have to win a trade in order for Frenzy to work, and a card having low stats and Frenzy is just useless. So there's also a lot of cards with Frenzy that are just big dry zombies, and they're not very good cards at all. Bounty Hunter is okay. Adding it as a trick and a lot of attack. Like, again, you need it to win a trade. So this is why Maniacal Lapse is one of the better cards in this game, is because if you're adding a ton of stats plus Frenzy, so great, you've buffed up a guy. Like, if this just said add 5/5, this would be a horrible card. But now it helps you win the game with Frenzy, which is awesome. So overall, for most things, Frenzy is not very good, but it is one of the best ideas in the game. You also have, of course, some superpowers that give you Frenzy. That would be this one, Possessed, which is a decent power. It's not bad. Not bad. Area 22. Really not a bad card. It adds stats. That's the key. It also has to, right, so there's two reasons why Frenzy's worse. One is because your guy has to live. Also, the plant has to die. Strike Through works no matter what. Frenzy does not. I'm going to put Frenzy, I'll put Frenzy in B, because in general it's not good. A couple times it's amazing, and again, it has some drawbacks in terms of how finicky it is, that your guy has to live and their guy has to die. And that's why I'm putting it in B tier. Alright. Next. But it does make you do bonus attacks, which is good. Next is Fusion. Here we go for Fusion. So Fusion is really the counterpart of Evolution. Fusion means the bottom card can be covered by anything, as opposed to Evolution means the top one is covered. I don't think there's any specific fusions in the game, so all these fusion cards can be covered by whatever. Most of the fusion cards are garbage. This is okay. Okay, I guess with Headhunter, this is really, really good. So you got like one fusion per class. They kind of added that in. Most of the fusions are not good enough, which is going to affect its final score. I mean, the only real good one was Mustache. Fairy Treasure's a fun card. Most of these are really... In fact, all 5 of these really suck. I mean, this isn't even a very good card. Maybe if Shamrock it cost more, you know, removal was nerfed. This card at 2 would be quite useful. But the problem, again, with Ice Boar, Very, very powerful ability. Don't get me wrong for a 2-cost card, but it doesn't work at removing guys in front of your minions. They have to be in a dry lane or a lane that's open, has a team up in it maybe, in order for this to be good. So, you know, most of the fusion's so bad. These cards are real trash. Because there's no really, again, the only really good fusion is Mustache Monument, and the other 9 are pretty much trash cards. I can't really put this in like D or F. Maybe I'll put it in C. Mustache Monument's a really good card. Buried Treasure's okay. I'll actually put this in C. Since then, what? There are 3 useful cards here. One of them is one of the best cards in the game. And this side, one of them, and one's very fun. And then this side, there's no useful cards here at all. I mean, they're so bad. Just all ugh. Anyway, next is Gravestone. That's obviously going to be a zombie ability. And the home of the grave. Alright, so what does Gravestone actually add to a minion? And this is a little bit of a twist, because for cheap minions, Gravestone is very good, because the thing cheap minions are lacking are in their stats. They're very easily removed. A great example of this is Swashbuckler. This would not be a good card if it did not have Gravestone, because there's too many answers to it. Now, they have to either have a minion or a Gravebuster. If this would die to Berry Blast and Banana Bomb and everything like that, it would be a lot worse. The second good thing about Gravestones is that they don't know what it is. And again, even though good players can probably 80% of the time know what's in their opponent's Gravestones, probably about between 50 and 75%, maybe more like. But okay, not only does it give it a natural shield, but it also makes it unpredictable. So cards that you don't know what's happening, especially cards like Line Dancing Zombie, that's very important to surprise your opponent with. If they don't know if it's a Swashbuckler or a Monkey Pirate on turn 2, it makes that play a lot harder. Sumo also, if they're not expecting it, which is a pretty easy card to expect, usually. But if they're not expecting it, this will obviously the surprise factor. So there's three things actually about Gravestone that's really important for early game cards. One is the natural barrier. Second of all is the surprise factor. Third of all, its ability activates during the trick phase after the plans have already played their plans instead of immediately, which is so important for almost every card that's Gravestone and has a when revealed ability. Sumo is exactly like that. If this would not have Gravestone, you play this as a dry zombie, would move something immediately. Great. Now this can be used as a control card. Now this can take whatever the plants did and react to it. And other supreme example of this is Pogo. The reason why, whatever it's called, Blow Imp, is a bad card is because its bounce happens during the minion phase. This happens during the trick phase. It will remove whatever they have already played. So that's 3 really, really strong abilities about Gravestone. Now, the shortcomings of Gravestone are the fact that they make them worse to Gravebuster. Gravebuster is a 2-cost card. Blockbuster is a 4-cost card that requires another minion on the field. It's a sort of expensive way to do it. Let's say, you know, it probably averages out after you get rid of the evolution and stuff to about a 2 or 3 cost card. But anyway, the mixed up Gravedigger, for example, puts everything in Gravestones. I know, as you've seen in the recent highlight compilations, if they have a Blockbuster, it just annihilates this field, which otherwise they would not be able to. A lot of real expensive cards like Binary Stars, it's really hard to run in a deck because if you build a whole deck around this and they have a Gravebuster, they just win. Same thing really happens for Rodeo Garg. Late game, that's one of the many weaknesses of Battle Cruiser, even Surprise Garg and Gargolith. Like, the fact that there's such cheap answers to these does definitely take away from their valuability. Overall, Gravestone is a good thing. In general, cards are better if they have Gravestone than if they didn't. Especially Teleportation Zombie, are you kidding me? This is so much better with Gravestone because it has this natural barrier. Worst case scenario, you'll trade a 2-cost card for a 2-cost card. So Gravestone's a great ability. I'm not going to say it's game, well, it's weird because for certain cards it is game defining. It actually is a very game defining, not because of the natural barrier, but because it happens during the trick phase. That's actually probably the most significant part of Gravestone, is the fact that it activates abilities in the trick phase rather than in the attack phase. I know some of you guys think the natural barrier is the important part. It's really not, especially for small stat cards like this. So, The surprise factor, obviously, you know, for Tomb Raider, very, very important for this to have Gravestone. Actually, it would be better because then you could teleport it in. No, this would be better. Gravestone really ruins. That's one thing I didn't say. Gravestone, if the card doesn't have an active ability, it has more of a passive ability, Gravestone actually ruins a lot of cards. Tomb Raider is a great example of that, actually. If you could teleport this in, this card would be 10 times better. This would be an easy 2 minions for 4 brains, I guess, plus a teleport, which is really good. The other amazing example of this is Binary Stars. If this was not a Gravestone, this would be OP. You would never stick this dry in the field and expect it to live. You'd always be teleporting this in. This with Professor Brainstorm, if it did not have Gravestone, would be ridiculously strong. Teleport this in and then just do anything. Then play a Trickster the next turn. It's so easy. If you have to play this, let them react with their Gravebusters. You know, let the plants react to it since you're playing it in the Gravestone, or if you teleport it in, its ability doesn't happen until the next turn's Gravestone, trick phase. It does end up ruining a lot of cards. Anyway, that's what I have to say about Gravestones. We're going to put it on the tier list now. It's so important. It's so bad. I think the fact that it ruins a lot of cards and actually makes them worse, I'm going to take away a little points. I think overall I'll put Gravestone in B. Professor Brainstorm's the only crazy hero. When it comes to a lot of situations, teleporting in zombies is the only way to activate them. There are a lot of cards, again, that are only good in teleport. Alright, next is heal. I'm gonna just quickly show you the 3 things that heal on the zombie side. How many are there? What? Oh, this says health. This heals to fall. Oh, this does heal. Never mind. I don't even know what it says. So this heals you, this prevents heals. This will heal you for whatever it does. Why is this under heal? Oh, for each health your hero has. This does not heal. So it's really just 1, 2, 3, and 4. And this is healthy treat. So it's very inconsequential on the zombie side. It does make Nibble worth it. You know, gaining that extra health, it's a pretty weak removal card, but that little extra health really does go a long way. We also do have some fun with Nurse Gargantua teleporting in and with Immorticia, because that really gives you sustain until you get to that teleport zombie. Thank you, Sayman. This is an almost unplayable card. I have trolled opponents with Medic mixed up Gravedigger, but it's just a troll strat, and this is just overall horrible. It's the only card I have 4 copies of, by the way, and I'm not crafting one either. It's mostly of consequence when you go to the plant side, which I guess makes sense. Heal is kind of like a more planty thing to do. These do not count. This does not have heal. Oh my gosh. Okay, it's in the solar class though. Heal is a very good strategy. It's good for budget players. You have your Dr. Peppers, which are really, really good. You have one of these huge heals, Astrovera. So the heal synergy, of course, is Dr. Pepper will grow every single time you heal, and the second synergy card is going to be with Heartachoke, which is damage to your opponent's face. I would say more importantly, though, heal is a good way of controlling. It's a way of stalling the game. You don't even need to have Heartachoke and heal decks as long as you have a lot of late game win conditions that will otherwise take over the opponent. The thing that's missing here, by the way, in the Guardian class is Poppin' Poppies, which creates 3 little buddies, and that's actually one of the best heal cards in the game. It clogs a lot of lanes and heals you for 6. Really, really good way of getting back in the games that you're otherwise behind. Catching mechanics also really, really good. So on the zombie side, heal is pretty sucky. On the plant side, it's good. It's one of the I'm not going to say it's a top tier strat, but it's one of the better strategies in the game for sure. Despite having a few bad cards in it. I'm going to give heal because it's an entire, zombie side not, but because it's really an entire strategy in this game and it's quite a good one, and even in decks aren't heal decks, but having, Poppin' Poppies and a little bit of heal from Little Buddy is quite good. I'm going to put that in A tier. It's really a very, very, very strong keyword. There's also heal superpowers, right, of course. You have Geyser, which is decent, and you have Heroic Health, which is actually one of the worst superpowers because, again, Heroic Health, the whole point of superpowers is that they give you all this extra tempo. This doesn't add any tempo. You don't have enough heal to really sustain this way as zombies. I just have found Heroic Health usually being useless, especially if it's in your starting superpower. It's really, really bad. But every once in a while, Heroic Health just saves you. I mean, how many games have we actually won because we happen to get a Heroic Health when we need it? So, all right, next, Hunt. Hunt is not a very good keyword. So we really have one Hunt minion. This is Hunters. It doesn't actually hunt. One hunt minion on the plant side, which is Corn Dog. This hunt actually, this will give negative points for a hunt because this would be significantly better if it did not have hunt. This would be a 2-cost 3/2 amphibious. 2-cost 3/2 is fine. Amphibious would be a great example then of how to like give a vanilla 2-cost 3/2, you know, viability as a plant in the water. This would be a great aggro card if it did not have hunt. The hunt makes it able to come out of the water lane, so it really negates the only advantage that it had of being amphibious, which is not good. What if the Velociraptor Hunters had hunt? That would be cool. I think they should add that to the game. They should do that in the fan-made game. How good is Hunt? Headhunter obviously doesn't count. So you got 5 cards with Hunt. It's not very good. I would say, look, this is okay. It's a good like budget control card. It's outclassed by obviously by Bungee Plumber, Cheese Cutter even, because then they have to front you instead of you fronting them. I haven't found a lot of success with the Cyborg. This is a cool one though because of its ability that whenever it leaves the lane it grows. This will give you. I've had a lot of success either using Hunting Grounds to activate cards like Garg throwing Garg, or using it, you know, with a turn 3 Gatekeeper, which really makes you control. This can turn any card into a control card, which is kind of really unique for an environment, besides for adding a lot of stats. It's a really good card. Again, this because of its ability, whenever it kills, destroys a planet, draws a card, so, and it has Frenzy. The Hunt is overall a really good thing for Bounty Hunter. This would be actually almost unplayable if not, because you have to really use this as a control card. It can't just draw you. This really would not be good without Hunt. This anyway is not a very good card. Overall Hunt sucks, but it has like 2 good cards. Hunt is really bad. The only card that's really bad, these 2 it really don't work at all without Hunt. These 2 also don't. Fine, I'll put you in C just to be nice. Just to be nice. What if Velociraptor Hunters had Hunt? It's a cool idea. Alright, next. Next is Overshoot. Overshoot. Okay, there's no plants with Overshoot, right? It's a zombie only ability. So we're gonna do an Overshoot. Alright, here we go. Why is Freeze F tier? Because Ice Age, baby. It's so annoying. Overshoot is not one of the better abilities in the game. We happen to have good success with like Disco Dance Floor, Headhunter, but these cards are really almost unplayable. The problem with Overshoot, it does direct damage to your opponent's face. It's just usually a very expensive way of getting in that damage. Like a 4-cost card that otherwise has mediocre, very below average stats and an only mediocre ability. The Overshoot 2, it's just a really expensive way of getting a mere 2 damage. If this had Overshoot 3, for example, this would be really good. It would be similar to, let's say, Bloomerang, a 4-cost card that, you know, it'll get a lot of the extra damage in. This as an environment, it doesn't add anything right when you play it. I guess you'll usually get the 3 damage in that turn. It's good with Bullseye. I just find this is so outclassed by most environments in the game, especially because of how expensive this is. This again, this replaced its attack with its Overshoot. So the Overshoot 3 is ridiculously good for 2, but the problem is it can't protect itself the turn it's played. It's just a huge flaw. This one also, it's just not a good card. Kitchen Sink is just a big grab bag of stuff. Overshoot Bullseye is really not OP. It's better just to swarm and put a lot of guys on the field than to have a lot of like, how are you going to make this Bullseye with Cosmic? It's just not worth it. Way better is to have strong Bullseye cards than weak ones that that synergize with Overshoot. Again, Disconaut is a pretty weak card. Every once in a while you'll see Disconaut and Dance Floor and cards like Cosmic Dancer be really, really good, but usually that's not a reliable strategy. The reason is because Cosmonaut only has 1 health. It's a really, really key card in the whole equation that you need to remove, and is very easy to remove. Overall, Overshoot, it's not very good. Sometimes this can add things to like Abracadabra. It's so unreliable because it gets blocked. I'm actually putting Overshoot in D. I really don't think that, especially because of the cards that represent Overshoot in this game are very below average. They're all below average. I don't think Overshoot's a very good ability. It's going in D. Next is Splash. Cool. Splash. I forgot about this one. Alright, what cards have Splash? Nothing! You know what? When I thought of Splash, it didn't immediately pop into my head that Splash is a plant-only ability, but there really are only plants that have splash damage. I guess that makes sense. So splash damage, it's what, let's say, a card like Snapdragon is all about. This card obviously would suck if it didn't have splash damage. It's kind of really cool, the fact that your guy always wins the trade. It hits the guy before he's even able to attack because it goes to both lanes. It can hit someone in the left lane, but more importantly, hits to the right. That guy can't even attack as long as this kills him. So Splash is actually a pretty decent ability. It happens to be there's a few Splash cards that really taint Splash's name, like Melon Bolt, who's so outclassed by Snapdragon. Winter Melon, which is too expensive for what it does, because again, the whole thing is the splash, and that only happens in the attack phase. This thing just gets rocket science or fruitcake easily. And this card is just, gross. This should be a 2-cost 2/2 with Splash 2. This would become a decent card. Happens to be one of the best cards in the game of Splash. Dark Matter Dragon Fruit really does, because this is Splash 6. The difference is this is Splash 1. Splash 6 is infinitely better than Splash 1. So the fact this can, remove minions just as much as it stalls tricks, obviously, can also stall their minion plays. 6 Splash will remove basically anything. Makes this card, one of the best cards in the game. I would say because it's really good for 2 cards and it's horrible for everything else. Freaking wet melon bolt. Splash itself is a good bit. It depends how much splash, though. That depends how much splash. I think if this did 4 splash, it probably would be a lot. It might even be viable. Still be a tough sell. I think 3, 4 splash would be correct. I'll put splash in general. Dragon Fruit. It's a good ability. It's just not being applied. It's not applied well. I think based on how good of its ability, I would give it B, but because it's applied so poorly in this game, for the most part, I guess I'll give it a C. Alright. Next is Strike Through. Holy moly! Strike Through! Who needs bonus attacks when you have Strike Through? Bonus attacks are probably overall better, but Strike Through is really one of the best abilities in the game. You don't need your guy to live like Frenzy, and you don't need their guy to die. This thing just hits them in the face. And the Strike Through cards overall are really, really good. In aggro decks, use Strike Through as a finisher. This card is so underrated for budget players. It does have bad stats, but 3 Strike Through in late in games is so much. It also, essentially, there's a second thing about Strike Through. Besides for being a good finisher, it basically doubles the potential of a card. It doubles its total damage output when it's fronted, because now it's attacking both the minion and their face. As opposed to, let's say, Overshoot doesn't double, and does it? I guess you could argue Overshoot sort of does that. But anyway, just overall, though, the Strike Through cards, Elderberry, Astrocod, this contains some of the best cards, some pretty bad. Even this is not that horrible, and even Sunstrike. I don't like it. It's not horrible. Power Flower. What do we got? Strike Through on the zombie side. And you know what? Strike Through on average on the zombie side might even be better, because if you look at Line Dancing Zombie is one of the best cards in the game. Then you got, look, Captain Flameface. This is, seriously, for budget players, craft Captain Flameface. Please. This is so good for Pirate decks. This will make you, it's the only expensive card you really need in Pirate decks. If you can do the Headstone Car version. Really good with Space Cowboy. Makes Plankwalker good. If Plankwalker didn't have Strike Through, this wouldn't even be a good card. I know there's some crap, but even Laser Base Alpha is not a horrible card. It's just okay. I'm putting Strike Through in S tier. I think Strike Through is literally one of the best things in the game, especially on the zombie side too. Not only does this now double its potency, it actually triples it if you're against a team up. Like, if you have that Shumfur 2 or Velociraptor Hunters, this will hit face and hit both minions, which makes this card really, really good. Alright, next, speaking of which, this is going to be a plant-only ability, and it's none other than the classic Team Up. I like Team Up. Let me explain what Team Up does. First of all, okay, Team Up does a lot of things. It's actually a very underrated ability. First of all, Team Up it increases the maximum amount of minions you're able to have on the field, which makes a really, really big difference for your Sonic Blooms that does 1 damage per minion, for your Astro Shroom, Admiral Navy Bean, anything that Pine Clone, anything that requires a lot of minions on the field to be good. It literally doubles the amount of minions you can contain on the field, first of all. Second of all, it allows you to protect your minion. So if you have a really expensive thing in the field, stick a garlic in front of it. Even stick a walnut. It's not that bad. Usually the walnuts you're seeing from Nut Signal, the superpower. But even celery, even cards like it really makes cards like Puff Shroom really good. This adds an attack and protects your entire guy behind it for 0 cost. Same thing happens with Little Buddy. So able to protect other cards, but it also makes you able to protect yourself. For example, if you have a Sunflower, the longer this stays in the field, has very weak health, but if you can stick this behind something, so now the team up works exactly the opposite. Now you're protecting itself. So it doubles the minions have in the field. It protects other things. It protects itself. There's one more thing about Team Up that I feel like is so overlooked in this game, and that is the fact that there's a special game mechanic in this game that when you have 2 Team Up plants, when they hit your opponent's face, they charge the block meter only 1 time. Meaning, if you play a 1-cost 2/1 Celery together with another non-bullseye minion on the field, essentially this card at that moment has bullseye, because this will be adding 2 damage onto the field for 1 cost, which is fine, but does not charge your opponent's block meter additionally. Now, there's a cool mechanic that if they have double strike, like if they're in Coffee Grounds, then they split up the 2 team-ups, that first the front one does the attack, then the back one does the attack. We had the cool highlight like that recently in a highlight video, or maybe it's in an upcoming highlight video. I can't even remember at this point, now that I have an editor, with Repeat Moss. If you have Repeat Moss in pair of pairs, and you play a trick, the front one doesn't attack, then the back one. I believe that'll be coming up in the next highlight video, which is already have a draft for at this point. There's also Team Up Synergy. Cop Cannon's the main example of that. You really don't want to go with Mix Nuts, not a very good card. Also Go Nuts, which is the other Team Up Synergy, grows all your Team Ups. It's not a very good card. I haven't really found the good Go Nuts deck, but in general, Team Up is a nice, solid ability. It's not game defining. There's certain cards that would probably only be good with Team Up, like Primal Walnut. Obviously, Torchwood would be useless if it didn't have Team Up, but cards like Little Buddy and Shroom, I mean, it really adds so much. Man, it has so many uses. With Pine Clone, Team Up's a fine ability. It really, I mean, it's so game-defining for the plants. It's so game-defining. I'm probably going to be rating this a lot less in how much value does adding the word Team Up to a card, but just in terms of how game-defining, all those little things that it does, I'm going to be putting Team Up in A tier. I really think it's very underrated, and it just has so many huge implications on this game. All right. Not S tier because it's not. S tier I'm reserving for the things which are game-winning. This is not necessarily game-winning, it's game-defining. Not a very big distinction. All right, next is Untrickable. So Untrickable is actually, it's so, the actual ability seems like it should be so good, but it's not. I'll tell you the problem with Untrickable in this game. Again, it's useful. Tricks don't work on it. You know, it'll make cards like Potatosaurus like viable. Obviously, without the Untrickable, that's what this is all about. It doesn't, you know, I think the problem with Untrickable is the way it's applied. It's not the problem. If there were a lot more cards with Untrickable, it would be a much better ability. Imagine Toxic Waste Imp had Untrickable. It would be a ridiculously good card because it's Untrickable and it's amphibious. And it adds a lot to the field. Very, very difficult card to remove. If Gargantuars, I could almost see in a later patch, just give every single zombie card that costs 5 or more, make it Untrickable. Then you won't have to nerf Shamrocket. Really, the real way you do that is just make Shamrocket cost 5. And Squash cost 6. But Untrickable would have been good if it was applied to very big cards that are very easily removed, just to sort of make them not removed very well. Like, just also the Untrickable... the Untrickable cards on the zombie side, it's like Fossil Head, which again is fine. It's very hard to activate this. You need a very specific deck. It's okay. And then you have, again, Parasol's an okay card. It's just not, it also adds Untrickable in 2 lanes, which is kind of cool. But, I mean, it helps your cards from getting removed, but it doesn't help absolutely because, for example, Cob Cannon, Briar Rose, there's a lot of minions, even Eye Spores, a lot of minions that still can remove minions when they're Untrickable. Only protects against tricks. I mean, it's really not bad. It's just not, I feel like untrickable is a much better keyword than the way it's applied to this game. Like, does Primal Walnut really make that much of a difference that it's untrickable? It's mostly a 3-cost, 9-health guy that's team up, protects your guys, conjures something, makes your Dynoroars happen. The untrickable is nice. It really is not defining this card at all. And again, the way it's applied with Umbrella Leaf is that this card only has 1 health. If this had 3 health, this would be a good card because it provides untrickable. It's trickable itself, but then it doesn't die to anything. This just dies literally to anything. That's why Umbrella Leaf is not a very good card. So it's a great ability, but it's just applied extremely poorly in this game. And I'm just going to kind of give untrickable C. I really think that it could have been applied a lot better to really be sort of a dominant force, a much more significant force in this game. Than it is. Anyway, guys, that's all the keywords. If you guys have any this was a great idea. A lot of people really suggested doing keywords like strike through and stuff like that. So if you guys have any great ideas, keep them coming in the comment section below. But for now, that was the keyword tier list. Hope you guys enjoyed. I certainly did. Peace. This is Fry. I missed the leap. I missed the leap. I don't think so. Leap's not a keyword. I know we've made it into a keyword in this channel. We leap it, but it doesn't actually say leap. It says transform. I guess transform is a keyword now. I should make a dumb idea tier list. It's so meta. All right, guys, I really have to go. I have to leave the babysitter. I have a Google Doc for tier list ideas, so maybe I'll write down the dumb ideas. I don't think I'm gonna do that. It's too mean. But where's my Google Docs with the dumb? Oh yeah, I figured out how to. By the way, I guess we'll go to full screen mode for now. I figured out how to make my Google Chrome not eat up all my CPU, but now it just runs really slow. I really should try to switch to a different browser. People say Opera is good. I'll do that when I have a moment. Where's my tier list ideas? I have to write down bad tier list ideas tier list. Now it just takes forever to open up anything. Bad tier list ideas tier list. It's so meta. What else do we have? Cuteness tier list? The music? What else do we have? The tokens we haven't done, but I'll do that maybe next week. Alright guys, I really gotta run. I will see you tomorrow. Have a good one.